recently become a fan of Amanda Todhunter, and I can't quite just put into words what kind of videos she makes. But one series that she has is Unhinged Recaps, where she just takes any random piece of media and recaps it. Books, movies, TV shows, all that fun stuff. Recently, the thought came into my head, I like things, and I'm unhinged. So here is my unhinged recap of Little Shop of Horrors. Apparently there's two versions of this film. One was made in like the 1930s, but I'm going to be talking about the 1986 version because that version is superior. The movie opens with this typical Star Wars beginning that explains some background for what's going to happen in the movie. After that, there's a musical number that opens up the whole movie and explains. It just explains. We meet our main character Seymour, who's living in the basement of a plant shop in downtown Skid Row. Also, the shop isn't doing very well. Keep a pin in that because we're going to come back to it later. Oh, and there's also his boss, Mr. Mushnik, which I think is played by the same guy who plays the Godfather. I have to check. Okay, my bad. They're not played by the same person, but we're going to keep going. And after that, we meet Audrey, the love interest. But she's got some problems of her own. We find out that she has a really, really abusive and just overall terrible boyfriend who, again, put a pin in that. We're going to come back to him later. Then we get by far the best musical number in the entire movie, Down on Skid Row. Or just Skid Row for simplicity. It basically explains that Skid Row is a terrible place to live in. Everyone's poor, everyone's hungry, no one has a place to live. It's just an overall not good place. Then, out of nowhere, Mr. Mushnik decides to close the plant shop because they haven't had a single customer in weeks. So to get him to change his mind, Seymour shows him this plant that he found, and it's not a normal plant. In a somewhat racist musical number, he explains how he got this plant from a Chinese plant shop owner because the guy knows that weird plants are his hobby, which I didn't really know that could be a hobby, but I guess you learn something new every day. So he puts it in the window thinking that it'll attract business because of how weird it is and how none of them know what it is. Also, the plant's name is Audrey too. So just as Seymour suspected, business starts booming because of the plant that's in the window, but then after that, the plant starts to So he takes it back downstairs and hopes to fix it up, but while doing that, he pricks his fingers on some roses, and he hears a suspicious noise coming from behind him, only to realize that it's the plant, and he wants his blood. So Seymour is hesitant at first, but he eventually squeezes some of the blood out of him and gives it to the plant, and then it freaking grows. Then we get what is objectively the worst song in the whole movie, Somewhere That's Green. It's very sweet, but it's just boring. It's basically Audrey singing for about 2 minutes about how she wants a normal life with 2 kids and just a normal house where she's not abused and she's married to Seymour. By this point, Audrey too has grown to be the size of the corner of the room, and business is bigger than it ever was before. Now we meet the boyfriend. He is a dentist and a sadist. That's all you really need to know about him, except for the fact that I thought he was Elvis Presley for half of my life because I was stupid. His musical number is the fucking hit. It is amazing. Go listen to it. It's called I'm the Dentist. It's amazing. Oh, and my guy also likes huffing laughing gas. So that's a thing. So then Seymour meets the boyfriend while Audrey is going on her date with him, and And now the plant is starting to talk and is saying, I need more food because I'm gonna die. But my plant, Audrey 2, does not want just any food. He wants to eat an entire human being. So Seymour, like the sane man he is, says, no, I'm not going to kill anyone for you. I'm not insane. But then he finds the boyfriend. I'm not going to show the scene. That music ended up being an ice cream truck. I've lived here for 11 years and there's never been an ice cream truck that comes to my neighborhood. So this is a new development. I'm gonna eat this and then I'm gonna get back to filming. Okay, back to recap. So Seymour decides to kill the dentist to kill Audrey too. To do it inconspicuously, he books an appointment, but instead of him killing him, he overdosed on the laughing gas, so he didn't really have to kill him. He just kind of had to drag the body and then feed it to Audrey too, which I mean, it works. So the next morning rolls around and Audrey found out that something happened to the dentist and she's freaking out, but Seymour's like, well, it's kind of a good thing if, like, you know, he did die because he was a piece of frick. Then the song Suddenly Seymour happens. They realize that they both love each other. Mama. And then Mushnik comes back into the picture and says that he saw him chopping up the dentist. But he's like, hold up. I'll let you get away with it, but you just gotta tell me how to keep the plant happy and alive, and meanwhile you can go hide away in some other town where nobody knows who you are. And while that happens, Audrey 2 eats Mr. Mushnik. So then Seymour gets signed on to do a bunch of interviews, TV appearances, stuff like that. But then him and Audrey decide to run away together, but the only problem is the plant won't really let him go. Oh yeah, and by the way, they decided to get married together, so they're basically eloping. So Seymour quick runs to the store to go get some flesh. Then Audrey comes into the store and finds out about, you know, how Audrey 2 can talk, speak, and eats people, and he tries to eat her! But Seymour comes in at just the right time and is able to get her out, so then they leave. And then Seymour's like, you know what, I am done with this, I'm gonna go kill him. And in trying to kill him, Audrey 2 sprouts babies. So now the climax is happening, the whole fight scene happens. Seymour gets buried under a pile of rubble. He grabs a lone electrical wire, attaches it to Audrey 2, electrocutes him, then he blows up. Then, happy ending, they move to the house of their dreams. But then, on the very last shot, there's a mini Audrey 2 in the garden. So it's like, oh, here we go again. And that was my unhinged recap of Little Shop of Horrors. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a good day. Hope you enjoyed this video. Go subscribe to Amanda Todd Hunter if you haven't, because she makes amazing videos.